And if anyone needs to mute themselves, they can. So welcome you guys to the Schedulicity Fireside Chat. So glad to have you all here. Especially welcome to the Rockstars.
Yay!
So I guess let's just dive in. First of all, I just would like to say huge thanks to you guys for doing this, for diving in and answering a lot of our questions. I know I have questions. I'm on there a lot asking you guys questions. And yeah, it's just super fun to see everyone today as well. I know some people are using Schedulicity, some people aren't, and it's fun to gather.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for having us. This was such a great suggestion. Absolutely. We're super excited.
Awesome. So first of all, I just have a few questions, if that's okay. I wanted to ask you guys if any of you have ever done yoga.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So all of you have done yoga. And do you have a favorite yoga pose?
Shavasana?
Ragdoll. I'm a warrior man myself.
I don't know. There's
I think camel is my favorite. If my back is up to it.
Yes.
I really like it. Yeah. Pigeon.
Awesome.
You like pigeon? Any of them recommend it. Pigeon especially.
Sorry, you guys. I'm going to unmute.
Dancers is one of those that's really lovely. You know, just
get your heart rate swelling. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking that's like picking a favorite food for me.
Yes, for color.
Yes. How can you do that? But yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Also, I had a question, like how long have all of you been working at Schedulicity?
That's a great question.
I've been here 2.5 years.
I've been here almost 12.
Wow.
It'll be 4 for me in January.
And it'll be 2 for me in January.
Awesome. And then do you guys want to introduce yourselves by name and kind of maybe share what you really love about your job or your Schedulicity Rockstar team?
Yes. Yeah. Do you want to start?
Sure. So my name's Hillary, and I love that Schedulicity is in my hometown, and I was born in Bozeman and grew up here, and it's really fun to run into people and they ask where I work, and they say Schedulicity, and they say, I use Schedulicity, or I book my hair appointments on Schedulicity, and it's really fun to feel that I feel so connected to the community here, and it's really fun to just be able to be on my lunch break and run into people who use it too. It feels so tangible, and that's really important for me to know that my work matters and I get to see the people who get to benefit from that. So I love it.
Hi, I'm Jane. What is my favorite thing? I think it's really that we get to help businesses grow. It's really nice to work with studio owners and ask them what they need, and the fact that we have all that functionality and we get to help them grow their business. If they were just starting off their studio, working with a studio just down the street, and she's just like, oh my God, I love you. And it's just really rewarding to have those business owners just tell you, thank you for helping me. So.
Absolutely. My name's Matt. I think my favorite part about Schedulicity is the sense of community, not just on the team here or throughout the company. Everybody's really close. It feels like a family, but with our users as well. It's just this big group feeling. It's great to feel like we're helping and we can communicate like naturally and just be ourselves with folks. And gosh, it makes coming to work every day really cool.
Yeah. My name is Mikayla. Along with everything that's already been said, I also really love that we are really encouraged to be very authentic, and that includes not only being really happy and sharing that joy, but also being able to share frustrations with each other and to be able to learn from those. And that's taken not as a bad thing, but really as a chance to grow as an individual, for us as a business, for the businesses that we support. We just love the
the authenticity that I feel is integral to Schedulicity and our community in the office, as well as our community with all the businesses that we work with.
Well said.
Yeah, no kidding.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Lindsay is letting me know that she's getting a little bit of reverb, and I'm going to try and mute my mic while you guys are talking to see if we can help with that as well. Thanks for letting me know, Lindsay, and we'll keep dealing with the tech. But this is fun. It's like a party where we can all hang out and be together here. So for all of you who are at home, you're welcome to either post your questions in the chat box, if you can find the chat box. You can also introduce yourselves, say your name, you can share your website or your email, and then where you're from, and then we know who's here live for the draws at the end. Or you can also unmute yourselves and ask a question. Does anyone feel like they have a burning question for Schedulicity? I have a few that were sent in by email as well.
Oh.
So I guess I'll start. One person was just talking to me last week and saying, oh my gosh, what is Schedulicity like? Tell me about that. And they're a yoga teacher. And I was like, well, it's this online scheduling program that you can use, and it's free for yoga teachers. And their first question to me was, well, then how does Schedulicity make money? Do you guys want to cover that one? I feel like that's a really common question.
So that's an excellent question. I think, for yoga teachers and for class-based businesses, it does seem like an incredibly great deal because the class-based scheduling is free. A lot of our business comes from our add-ons. We have some premium add-ons, client text message reminders, package management and tracking. We even have auto billing services if you want to create like an automatic billing cycle for your client and offer them unlimited class sessions. You can do so. And then for our service-based businesses, we have an unlimited appointment add-on. So like one-on-one private appointments are limited to 20 per month in the free version of the system. So a lot of the service-based businesses that we use, of course, book more than 20 appointments in a month. And that's kind of where all the premium add-ons and features come in. And that's where we get our money from.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. I know for me, it was a big thing when it was switched so that classes were free. And then basically, if I book 20 things in a month, then I'm doing well. One-on-one classes, so I can afford to pay for the other part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Another question that someone sent to me is, how long does it take me to sign up for Schedulicity?
Yeah, I know. I'd be happy to take it. So it really depends on how established you are already. We have some businesses who may take a little while because they don't know their work schedule. They don't have their client list built up yet. They don't quite know which classes they're offering. But if you have a solid foundation, you know what hours you work, you might already have your clients gathered in a list outside of Schedulicity. In that case, we can import them for you into your Schedulicity account. And then your clients are already there. It would take, I would say it takes 2 minutes to create a class. And then you can hit the add another button and it takes another 2 minutes. So really it goes pretty quick. We do a lot of testing here. And if someone says, hey, this is my setup in my business, how would this work? We will often go into one of our test accounts and create a similar situation just to get a visual and a workflow. And we do that sometimes while we're on the phone with someone. Mm-hmm. So it really is pretty quick. And I think having the client list imported is huge because then you can send a marketing message out to your clients. They'll recognize your business name. They can click the schedule now button in that email and it's pretty quick. Yeah, I mean, really, you have people booking online with you after 10 minutes of getting set up, really.
Right, if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. If you're ready.
If you're ready.
So some people take a couple weeks to get everything set up just exactly what they want, and other people just sign up and get going right away. Yeah, it kind of depends. And it's nice that it's not set in stone. So you can always create one class and one provider with one work schedule and let a few bookings come in and see how it goes, and then see from there what else do you want to add on to it. You can always add as you go. So it's not like you have to be totally set up before you take your first booking. And I think some folks get really overwhelmed thinking, oh, I've been with this other company for 6 years and it's going to take me forever to get everything transferred over. And you can, but you don't have to do everything all at once.
You can really ease into it.
Yes, absolutely.
Work at your own pace.
Wait.
Amazing. So a lot of you are typing in where you're from, and I see a question in here from Laura. Before we even dive into Laura's question, I wondered if Sheila, if I could kind of put you on the spot, because I feel like you're the one person I know that just signed up with Schedulicity and got all set up, and I wondered if you wanted to talk about what your experience was like. Just 1 second, Sheila, and I'll unmute you. I just have to find you in our list. Unmute. There you go.
Okay, great. Nice question. Thanks, Shannon. And thanks for everyone for being here today. Yeah, I found it very easy. I'm still in the process of putting in my contacts. And I really like that answer that we just had a few moments ago about the contacts and how simple it is. But the support system is amazing. It's very quick. If you have a question, you are responded to immediately. And getting back to what everyone, all four of you said in your introduction from each other, it is a community. And I was struck immediately by how embraced I was. And not only that, it's very user-friendly. And I'm not, super techie, but I can figure things out. But the ease of reference for putting a schedule button on your website is easy. I had a phone call with Jamie. I had emails back and forth with Matt. So myself, and I have a very small business, and one of my questions actually is, how do I engage my students to actually, encourage them to use it? That's where I'm also at right now. Because, the ask is simple, but it's in the execution. And then how do I encourage my students to use the button on my website and get them to sign up? And then the second part of that question for me is, I haven't yet determined if I'm going to put my cost in there, and then maybe go a little further with signing up. They can actually sign through my website and pay at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I'll leave that with you. That's the end of my questions for now. Thanks.
Thank you. Tears to my eyes.
Yeah, that's a lot. Thank you.
I know, I got chill bumps.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Sure.
Go for it.
Okay. I guess as far as getting the word out there to your clients for how to book, one very simple thing that we recommend to people is to put in their voicemail, just to say, hey, if you're trying to book an appointment or want to enroll in my class, head to Schedulicity.com and search for me, or head to my website and look for the Schedule Now button. We do have integrations with Facebook, so that's an awesome way to get the word out there. And then also we have a free email marketing feature, so you can easily send out a message. We have a bunch of great templates that make those messages customizable. You can just send out a message, just kind of introducing your new online scheduler, and send it out to everybody or a select subset. We have 10 or 15 different mailing lists, so you can send it to people who are having a birthday. You can send it to people who have booked into a particular class, or you can just send it to everybody and just say, hey, I check out this new system. It makes it super easy for you to manage your booking. Click the button at the bottom of this message and you'll be able to enroll in your first class.
And then to add on to that, a lot of studio owners have found, just by when your students come in class, to say, hey, download the app, I'll show you how to book it. And it's super easy, because then you are definitely guaranteed that spot in the class. I know a lot of studios, they limit, just like you said that your studio is a little bit smaller, so sometimes the class sizes are smaller, so you have limited space. And so just to remind your students that they can download the app, they can find you, they can quickly book, and then just reserve that spot.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
Thank
true. Thanks for your question, Sheila.
Yeah, for sure.
I also noticed that you guys are really on when I feel like I message you at all different times of the day, and the Schedulicity Rockstars are like, bang, there. So sometimes I wonder how you do that.
Magic.
Yep.
Magic. You're not giving up that
Yeah,
magic.
so our on paper support hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday Mountain Time. I think the only 2 days a year that we really all take a day off is maybe Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day. And then other than that, you know, we have a pretty small team, and we're really good about chatting about who's on vacation, who is flying to see their family, and then folks who are sticking around. We're happy to cover each other's backs. We have someone come in the mornings, which is 7 a.m. Mountain Time, and we have someone else stick around until 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And then we take turns working the weekends as well. There's only one of us at a time on the weekends, so sometimes it's a little bit more skeleton, but we are there because we know that, you know, sometimes if you're working 40 hours a week, or if you're working a lot of evenings during the week, you know, that Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening is really, that might be the only chance you get. Mm-hmm. So we want to be there for you and not just when you're teaching your students, because that's not the best timing. And yeah, we have the option occasionally to work remote too, which is nice that if we are traveling or something and someone needs help, we really are there. Yeah.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it a lot because I use it a lot. I always say I like to message on Friday so I can just ask my question and then chat and send a funny little video or cat photo.
Yes, cat videos are always every time.
So Laura asked a question here. She says, hi, I work at a yoga studio. Just a little plug. Laura works at the yoga studio that I work at as well and know and love here in Owen Sound. And she works as admin. We're making a transition to rental space and would like to be able to embed a Schedulicity calendar on our website. I know this isn't an available feature at this time, but is it something you're considering? And Laura, I might unmute you just so that if there's any other clarification on that question, you can ask it as well.
Hey. No, I think that's about it. Just that's something that we're really interested in. We're probably going to use Google Calendar, but we'd much prefer to use the Schedulicity calendar. So something I was hoping you guys were considering doing.
I think, Laura, are you saying in terms of like the list as opposed to something that looks like a calendar?
Yeah. Well, yeah, actually something that looks like a calendar, a list too. Like I think we can do a list.
Yes.
Yeah, but looking for more of a calendar so someone can get a quick look at the whole month at a time and see what's available for them to take or to join a class or workshop.
Could you hear it, Jane?
Very well. I'm sorry.
So if I can just go over, can you hear me okay, Jane?
Yes.
It's because I'm really close to my microphone. So Laura's saying that a lot of students like to see something that looks like a calendar instead of the Schedulicity widget that looks more like a list. Is there any way that might be coming, or is there any way to do that on the website?
Yes. You are going to like 2018.
Yay!
So yes, so that is part of, you know, we've had a couple of requests like that. Also waitlist, guest booking, some of those more nuanced features, including just having the classes presented on a monthly basis. Is that what you're thinking? Just showing the month? Is that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay. Well then, good. Yes, that is something that we're talking about. It wouldn't be at the beginning of the year, but more like around April.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
But yes, it's coming.
Great.
That's exciting.
Yes.
I love it when I ask you guys, when can this happen? I'm sure there's people at the team just scrambling like, oh my gosh, back off. Okay, so Sean asks, Sean is my partner and he's at Tim Hortons because our Wi-Fi is so poor. So I was like, no, I get the Wi-Fi here. He's across the street at Tim Hortons. Okay, so he says, I think you have multiple logins for the same account. Teachers from the same studio. Is there a way to restrict what each user can do? For example, maybe only the studio manager would have access to all features of Schedulicity, while teachers could only check the schedule and log in students.
We do have a simple version of user management. So we have what's called a front desk user. So that front desk user wouldn't have access to things like settings or the marketing, or certain reports, but they would be able to create those students, create those student records, check them into class, check the schedule. So we do have that really simplistic version of user management.
This is good to know. I use this as well. I just started using it with my VA so she can check my schedule and see everything that's going on there. But yeah, sees it a little simpler. I'm going to try and keep. Sean says, great, thanks. I know I can't unmute him because it'll be all of Tim Hortons there. Does anybody else have questions? You're welcome to. There's a way to raise your hand on here, or you can unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can type it. Oh, Francine asks, are you working on adding a waiting list? And did you say that's a feature that's coming up? I'll let you guys cover that one.
April. But I'd love to reach out to you, Francine, and ask you a couple of questions too, just when we are diving into the details of that, to make sure that it's, exactly what you're looking for. So I may reach out to you.
Francine, okay. I did unmute you. I don't know if you're at a place where you can chat. Oh, right. We can't hear Francine. That's right. She can hear us. We can't hear her. This is one thing that I have to really say, Jane. This is how I got to know you first, is that you called me. You were like, hi, Shannon, I just want to chat with you and see what yoga studios would need. And I was like, oh my gosh, let me get my pen and paper here and tell you what I would like. Yeah, so thanks for being available for that. Lindsay, I'm going to unmute Lindsay because she has a couple of questions. Nice. There you go, Lindsay.
Hi, I'm folding laundry.
Yay!
So, I am managing a studio right now. They've been donation-based for about 3 years. Is there a way where people could pay on Schedulicity like a donation of whatever they choose, or is it set price? And also, we may have merchandise available in the studio for people to purchase. Would we be able to use Schedulicity to take payments and keep a record of those purchases as well?
Well, with the payment system currently, you can set it up so you require a full prepayment for your services or a partial deposit, but it is a requirement. I know for this coming year, we're doing a lot of looking into how to improve the payment system, maybe a second version to give, because we've got a lot of people that were asking for like optional payment or something like that. So I think that's definitely not something that's out of the question there. What was the second question?
And then merchandise.
Oh, right. So currently we have an add-ons system that you can kind of list the products that you might be offering. Clients can add it on to the booking and then pay for it when they come in, just to kind of give you an idea that that's a product that they're looking to purchase when they get there. And then obviously we want to improve that as well. So hopefully in the year coming, we can add that kind of integration, maybe true inventory tracking or item sales to our system as well.
Awesome.
Just to add a tiny bit there, if you don't necessarily want to collect payment ahead of time when they book, you do also have the ability to charge clients when they come in. And so when you're charging them, you can charge them however much you like.
Okay.
necessarily have to advertise a price for your class. You can just leave that field blank, or in the class name, you can even say, you know, like 90-minute vinyasa, $20 and up or something, or donation or something. And then when they come in, you can charge them whatever they want to donate at that time, and also just add a line item for your merchandise.
Right.
Okay.
So that doesn't communicate to an inventory management system, but it does make it possible for you to collect the money for that merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks. I love that you're doing laundry. Okay. So Sean, first of all, Catherine says that may be a great option for us, saying front desk and monthly calendar view. So that's exciting. And then Sean says, what are the advantages of students paying for classes through Schedulicity compared to paying through a PayPal link on my website?
Well, I would say the advantage would be is that we just have all that information listed within Schedulicity, so you don't have to work amongst two different systems. So anytime, whether you use Stripe, whether you use Square, PayPal is also a payment provider that we're looking to support probably sometime next year. So, but the deal is that because we have those tight integrations, when a student pays, you get to go into Schedulicity, see those payments. You don't have to log into PayPal and then make that comparison. Everything will just be in Schedulicity. So it just makes it a little bit easier so that you don't have an administrative overhead.
Mm-hmm. You can easily, right on the class roster, when they pay through Schedulicity, it shows next to their name paid if they paid through Schedulicity. So you can easily look at your roster and see who you need to still collect money from.
Right.
I had another question to tack onto that around payment. So I feel like often people usually pay online with their credit card. Say if I'm doing like an online training or the one-on-one work that I do and it's online. My students in class the other night were asking me, can you have a way that we can pay with our credit card at the studio? And I wanted to ask you guys, what is the simplest way to do that?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
I was going to say one of the easiest ways is when they register for the class, you could just require that they put their credit card on file. So they don't have to prepay, they don't have to have a deposit, but they can just say, hey, I'm going to put this on file, it's completely secured. And then when they show up for class, they can not only pay for just a single session, but they could also purchase a package. But that's kind of nice because then they don't have to bring in their credit card to class. They can just walk in dressed, ready to go, and they don't have to pull out, their wallet because it's already on file with you, in your account.
Okay, so to add on to that, Jane,
Yes.
So say if someone came to class, then me as the teacher, I would just have to remember to collect the payment from them through their credit card?
That's right, yes.
The other thing you can do is, and this is a fairly recent development of ours, but you can go into a client profile and you can put a card into their profile. So maybe a client booked on the phone, or maybe they've booked before you've set that hold with a credit card requirement on the client side. You can always go into a client's profile, put their card in, and then it's just held in their profile. And then if they come in for their next class and you want to check them out, or if you realize that maybe there was a previous class that they didn't pay for, it's already in their profile. So it can happen on the client's end or it can happen on your end. And either way, you don't have to collect revenue at that time.
Okay. That's super handy. I feel like I could even just take my iPad and then get them to put their credit card information in.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too, Shannon, is that it would be listed on the roster that they haven't paid yet. So you would, if they register or you pre-register, it would say, hey, this is unpaid. So whether you want to charge a card or use a package or auto billing, you would be able to see, okay, they haven't used anything or they haven't given me anything for this class yet.
Mm-hmm. And then right from the roster, there's a checkout button that you just click right next to their name. And then you have the option of charging a card on file, entering a new card. I've talked to other yoga teachers who there's kind of an other function. So sometimes they'll trade, somebody will clean the studio or something like that. So you can just run, it's just a recorded transaction. So it doesn't result in a true charge going through Stripe or Square, but it will still show that they're paid. And you can, so that way you can show that the people who you have trades going on with have still compensated you for their class time.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Does anybody else have questions? I know we're getting into the geeky side of payment. I just looked at the email. I've never looked at how to send out an email through Schedulicity, and you guys have a lot of options for like all made up header kind of thing in there. So
I think there are over 300 currently.
Yeah.
Well, and we have a special yoga section that is just yoga templates.
Yeah. I just saw that this week.
What an exciting find.
I know.
Like a little treasure trove.
Good stuff. Anyone else have questions? You're welcome to unmute yourself or type it in the chat as well. I'm curious to see how many people are listening are using Schedulicity as well, or something else, or nothing at all. And I just also wanted to share while you guys are typing that in, so Esther's saying she's not using it yet, that one of the biggest benefits that I see when teachers are doing one-on-one consultation work with me, and then we're trying to formulate their calendar for them to really, even if they're like, well, I only have one class a week, so why should I put it into something like this? It really helps to solidify, like, those are my offerings, and people can book with you. So say if someone says to me, I want to increase how many private students I'm seeing, I'm like, well, when can they book and how can they book? So it's a big thing.
I think to add to that, Shannon, if I may.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why you should start collecting all of your clients' information, even if it is just one class, the beautiful part is then you can send them a message later on to say, hey, I'm going to have a training, or I'm having a special workshop, or I am offering another class this week. So it really allows you to communicate really quickly with all of your students, and you're not just restricted to, verbally letting people know that you have other things that you can offer them.
Yeah.
Can I add a thing or two to that? I want to add so much, but I feel like a couple things that I hear frequently when helping people get set up is that one thing is that as you're getting going, especially when you are just offering one class, then as students come in, you'll be collecting their email addresses and phone numbers, and so the system is really creating a database of your clients for you. So that's just such a great tool as you're getting going, to have that stuff being automatically built for you. And then also, I just feel like the sense of accomplishment, and I feel like I oftentimes hear people saying like, gosh, I really feel like I'm taking this to the next level. Like, I feel more professional. I feel like empowered to keep moving. I feel like it seems like it gives people a lot of confidence. And then also just having all of our support. We love helping people get going with their business, and like learning that it's not scary, that it's really intuitive and it's really simple, and a little bit like little tips and tricks here and there make a big difference. And it's just,
and you really have so much control too. If you only offer one class a week, you can have it so your calendar only has enough space for that one class. It's not, I think some people think that, oh, I'm getting started with online booking and it's going to open the floodgates and it's going to be really overwhelming. And one point that I like to reassure people of too is that they have full control. If you have a last minute opening, if you don't normally work Fridays and it's a holiday or something, and folks are in town, you want to open up that day on the fly, it takes 20 seconds to do so, and you can send out an email for a last minute opening, and you really do have a lot of control and a lot of flexibility in that, in the platform in that way.
Yeah, I love it that I can also book certain things on different days. Like, this is my yoga day, and then that's those are only yoga people can book those days. And then I love that. I also love that I can quickly book personal time. So when one of my kids has a, whatever appointment comes up, then I just click on it and say, this is my personal time.
Mm-hmm.
So a few people are typing in. I'll just read these. So Lori says, I don't have anything in place yet, but I'm looking for a scheduling system and a credit payment system. Barbara says, I'm not using anything right now. Dominique says, I still use the free version, but I'm looking to add on the packages in the new year and possibly the payment option. Do you guys want to talk about the packages a little bit?
Sure.
Absolutely. I would be happy to. So our packages system allows you the ability to create, special packages of classes or services that you offer, and you can apply them to client profiles. In a recent update, we've just released the ability for clients to purchase them online. Clients can log in and see how many sessions they have remaining on their end. For class-based businesses like yoga teachers, the client's package, the number of remaining sessions will be auto-decremented upon check-in. It's a super cool feature. We have a packages report, so you can pull history on specific packages and usage. It's very cool, and I think it was probably an essential piece for folks like yoga teachers that we were really proud to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So I have a question about that. Would that be what I should use for, say, like I run an 11-week session? Can I do it that each time someone shows up over the 11 weeks, they get billed on that week?
So we have a similar feature to that. We do have a way for you to automatically charge your clients every month.
Okay.
And I know that we're always looking to improve those kinds of features. So maybe there will be some more flexibility there in the future.
But in the meantime, I think that a package would be a great way to do that. So then when they come in, then you can just check them in and automatically decrements that package. And then you also get that upfront revenue by saying, okay, I have an 11-week training. You have to purchase this package, and then you can just track when those people come in. I don't know, some instructors, they also have makeup classes. I'm not sure if you do that, but at least you would be able to see, okay, this person purchased this and they've attended every single session that I've offered.
Right.
Totally.
I think the monthly would be really nice because 11 weeks is a long time. So I can say to them at the beginning of the month, then it will, then you'll see the payment comes out. I think I'm going to do that in the spring. Okay. So sorry, I'm getting into questions. Michelle says, I'm a new teacher who's just starting out, so I don't have a need for it yet, but I'm so glad to know that this exists when I'm ready. Esther says, thanks, that's good to know about. Lindsay, if we begin using it, would it be beneficial to use it simply as a database to keep client information, email lists, and to do marketing via email? Since we're currently cash donation based, I'm just not sure we're ready for the payment options just yet.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely have plenty of users that do use our system in that way, just to keep track of their clients, to keep in touch with them, or send out special announcements or updates about kind of what's coming. I definitely think the scheduling system, that piece is where we really shine. I think it's an awesome system for scheduling your classes, even if the payment system isn't quite what you need it to be yet. I would definitely at least check it out. But we have so many folks that use our system for database management, keeping everything in one place, and just using it that way. And of course, it would be completely free that way as well.
Well, I think that's the beautiful part too, is that because it's free, you can start off that way, and then we really grow with you. So as soon as you're ready to add payment, or it has the functionality that you're looking for, you can add it. When you're ready to add packages, you can add it. You don't have to eat the whole elephant at once. You get to, wade in. You can just say, okay, well, now my business is ready to offer unlimited classes, those subscriptions. Okay, well, now I can do that. We don't make you or force you into a situation that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no contracts, there's no sign-up fees or cancellation fees, and I like to think of our add-ons as a la carte. So you can kind of pick and choose what you're needing at that time. If you want to try out the payment add-on for a month, you're absolutely welcome to, and kind of see how things go.
Right.
It's really flexible and it's there to try. And if you want to enable it for just a month and talk to us through that whole month before really committing 100%, we're welcome to workshop and brainstorm ideas to make sure you have the best setup too.
And just one more thing on all of those other things. That there's no need to require clients to pay anything either. You can totally use the classes and just allow clients to book online. I know a couple of the studios I go to, I have the option of signing up online early and I don't have to pay anything, or I can just show up and they'll enroll me when I get there. And there's no requirement to require any kind of a payment from people in order to use the class scheduling feature. So I just wanted to mention that too.
Yeah, that's really how we used it at Tone for the longest time, was just as that database. And so nice as well then to look at the end of the month and say, who came to what classes, and print off the reports and to look and see like what classes are doing well. What could use a little more work in building as well. So Esther says, I'm feeling quite inspired by everything you're saying, even if I don't use it right away. Could I don't know, she's saying, could I get started by making my email list? So that's a really good question.
Yes.
I think that's a great first step.
Yeah.
Usually one that we recommend when folks sign up and they call in and they're like, I don't know what to start with. I think importing your client contact information and get an email list going is probably the most important piece. And it really gets you engaged. It's going to get you exploring the system and seeing how it works. And you'll start to figure out how useful it can be, and especially at the value.
And for people who don't necessarily already have a client list to import, I just wanting to say again that as you get going with Schedulicity, you'll be building that client list. So it's kind of, it can be daunting to not have that already as an electronic file, but it's awesome that as you get going, you're building that resource for yourself.
Yeah, and then Lindsay was saying that's exactly what she was thinking. Sheila says, how do I get my email address to show up on my profile instead of my phone number?
Wow.
That's a good question, Sheila.
Well, I think probably the best place, if you want your email address to be publicly listed, there's a special place in the marketplace listing area of the marketing section of the system where you can put additional info for your business. So you could type your email address there. And then, if you really would prefer not to have your phone number listed, I know some businesses in the past have made their phone numbers all zeros, just so because it does require numbers to be in that field, but that is a way around it.
Yeah, I actually just noticed that my phone number was in there. And so it's been in there since 2011 and no one really called. There's a few people that have called me and sometimes I've thought, how do you know my home number? But mostly people respond by email. But it's a good idea to put zeros in there. Esther and Lindsay are chatting to each other here. I love that. Can a client sign up for, say, a 6-week session, and when they pay, they get a package? That's from Dominique. I'm going to unmute Dominique because we haven't heard from her.
You could use the classes feature, or you could use the workshops feature. One thing I really like with workshops is that you can require clients to register for all sessions when they book online. So you could have 6 sessions in that workshop and you could require clients to register for all of them. And then when they book online, whether there's a payment requirement or not, they would automatically be booked in for all of those sessions.
And they can also buy a package during that
process. Right, and then the final page of the booking process will list all of the packages that you offer, and they can kind of select which ones they want. And then they'll hit the book it button. And if there's a payment requirement for the workshop, then that will be tacked on to whatever the package price is. And then there'll just be a lump sum and they'll pay there.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
Dominique, does your little one want to say hi?
Do you want to say hi, Sienna? Want to say hi?
Like, I can't see anybody.
I can't see, but
Pulling you guys watching Paw Patrol.
Oh,
Keep her relatively quiet.
Thanks for your question, Dominique.
Thanks.
Okay, so then Lindsay, love it. Thank you. Sounds like a great tool to ease our studio into streamlining info. It's so true, Lindsay. And Heather says, so far, still working my way through the system, and I would eventually like to add my massage therapy onto the site. I'm still working through stuff with the yoga classes. So I'm going to, if Heather is okay with it, I'm going to unmute Heather. Find her. Heather, do you want to add anything to your question? She's maybe there.
I'm here.
Awesome.
Yeah, for me, and Shannon, it's just, getting my emails transferred in, because I think that's a great tool. And when you were saying too that there's already some templates that are there. So yes, I do need to go back into that and play with it. And it's just that time. So I did have a phone call with, was it Justine? Jamie, and she was great. She was helpful. So I've just been on a little bit of a break getting my emails transferred in there. So, and only because of my inadequacy.
No.
I'm sure that's not what it is.
But so far I'm loving like the features, and yeah, I just have to get better at using it. So any help would be great, but I think I just need a person.
Heck yeah, that's what we're here for. One thing about adding your massage therapy services, aside with your yoga classes, the coolest thing about our system is it's smart enough to know if you're teaching a class at this time, people can't book a massage service at that time. It will automatically know that, oh no, she's busy with the class, so clients can't book or double book you, if you will. So that's always a great feature for folks that offer private services and classes at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. That is good to know.
And I also I'm glad that you mentioned that you gave us a call. We seriously love hearing from people. So I just wanted to throw that in there, since that's something that we talk about all day long, every day, is how much we love talking to people. So thanks for calling.
And my phone is ringing.
I muted Heather there. So the other thing I wanted to just mention about that, because Heather's not the only yoga teacher that I know that does something other than just teaching yoga. And so Matt, you were saying that then it won't let you plan the same thing, but sometimes do you do it so that people can only book massage on one day, and then to have another, this is what I have for my podcast. So podcasting people, interviews can only book on one day, but it's kind of like it's a different account.
Mm-hmm. That's almost precisely how our system would kind of work around that. You can have, let's say we would have one provider for you that would be only offering, let's say, massage, for example, and only be available on Wednesdays for this chunk of time. But then you've got another provider profile that you've created, basically a duplicate, and this person is offering classes throughout the week or offering other services throughout the week. So we definitely have ways of accomplishing that in our system.
Awesome. I feel like maybe you're the Schedulicity Rockstar that actually helped me set that up. It was one of you.
I might have been. Yep. Very, very pleasant to chat with.
And Lori, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself so you can add to this, but I'll ask your question. For research purposes and to get familiar with what Schedulicity offers and looks like live, could you provide a few website names that use the system well that I can take a look at? That is an awesome question.
It's an awesome question.
Yeah, can we send that to you, Shannon?
Yeah.
Maybe after this, just to make sure, because I don't, just off the top of my head,
I don't have any on deck,
okay,
yeah.
who do I want to send you? But yes, we can absolutely send that to you, and you can share it with the entire group, so then everybody can see those examples.
For sure. I'll send it in an email. So if you guys are still, if you haven't put your email in the chat here, that really helps as well. If you can add your name, either your website or your email, and that's going to be for the draw also, and then where you're from. And then I will send an email to you guys with the replay of this, as well as those examples.
Cool.
Be great.
Awesome.
One thing I do like to recommend to people is to just go to Schedulicity.com, and you'll land right on, as long as you're not logged in. If you're already a user, then it'll take you to your business account. But if you're not logged in, it'll just land you right on our search portal. And you can just you can see all the different industries that we support. You can click into that. You can see businesses in your area, or if you want to just type in like Portland, Oregon, or somewhere that's not your area, you can kind of just see what that client side experience looks like too. So that's another option in the meantime as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. It's really fun to kind of snoop around and see what other people offer and how they've set it up, and
get familiar with what it would be like for your clients too, or what it could be like. One of the ways.
Lori, I'll unmute you if that's okay, so you can, if you have any other questions to add to it.
No, that's pretty much it. I'm not familiar with Schedulicity. The one that I'm most familiar with is Mind Body. Mm-hmm. And I'm the only teacher at my location, so I don't need multiple teachers at this point, but I do a lot of workshops and special classes and series, and right now the payment options are check, cash, and e-transfer, and I would like to have a credit card option. So I would like something that's really nimble, because my schedule changes a lot, so I'd like to be able to go and manage that, and with the option of students signing up online, so I know who's coming to class and I can prepare accordingly.
Right.
Absolutely. One thing that I think makes Schedulicity really unique is that we do have this marketplace, where a client can have a Schedulicity login and they can book their massage and their yoga, and they can also book their hair appointment and their dog groomer. And it's really fun just to go to Schedulicity.com and see kind of how diverse the platform can be. It's a really pretty basic foundation, and then it's really flexible depending on which direction you need to go.
Yeah, and I love that you use the word nimble. I feel like the schedule is totally nimble. I've never thought about it that way, but there are a lot of different ways to kind of edit your availability and move your classes around, and you can do that on a recurring basis or just day by day.
Right, you're able to create those classes just on the fly right from your class calendar. If you say, hey, I don't normally offer a class on Friday, but I want to, offer this warm vinyasa class, you can just quickly create it, and it'll be ready for your students to book.
Even from the app on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Great. One other question I have, sorry, just in relation to being able to send out emails. Is this similar to what MailChimp does, which is also something that I'm looking into putting in place for the new year? Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm just doing very old school emails to my clients. But would you still recommend using MailChimp as a sign up on your email, or would you recommend just using what you're offering, or do both work in tandem?
Great question.
That is a great question. I'll let you guys add to it.
I would say that, starting with ours is totally free, so that's really nice.
Yep.
And it's a lot more simple than MailChimp, which some people love that about it, because it's just really easy, so easy. So I would say starting with ours, if you're gonna go with Schedulicity, and then if you need more functionality out of your email marketing, to then think about using that in addition for those times when you need something that has a little bit more, it's a little more robust.
Okay. But I would say that the part that we have that MailChimp isn't able to offer, MailChimp, it's very specific in the clients that you send to. So the mailing lists are kind of all or nothing. And so if you're using Schedulicity, you get to say, I just want to send a message to people that just take my vinyasa class, or that just take my yin yoga class. And it's more targeted for the audiences that you have. And then also, then there'll be a schedule now button on all of those templates. And that's just something that MailChimp can't offer. So I think that it's just more targeted audiences if you use Schedulicity, and then yes, it is for free. Yeah.
And not only can you send them to just people who went to this particular class, but you can also send it to just people who were in this class on Thursday.
Right.
Like I know I've talked to some yoga teachers who are like, oh my gosh, somebody left $300 behind in the studio. How do I find out who it was?
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, you can send an email to everybody and say something cryptic, like somebody left something valuable. Was it you? It can get really specific. Yeah, that's a great point.
Or you can send an email to clients who haven't booked in 6 months saying that you have some holiday specials coming up or you have a really exciting new class you're offering. So it's really fun to do that kind of maintenance outreach, but then also if you're needing to take it a step further, those options are there as well.
Yeah, great. Thank you. That's very helpful because I like the ability to customize. Sometimes if my students come to a workshop, I like to send them some homework afterwards. So
perfect.
That would be great. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Lori. Does anybody else have questions? And if you haven't already put your email into the chat or just your name to say, hey, I'm here. Don't forget to put me in the draw. Your website as well if you want. Oh, yes. This is one thing in Canada, Dominique brings up this, that we have really strict rules about the new anti-spam, and this is the email can get blacklisted. So I know that's a fear from a lot of yoga teachers. Usually our yoga students are not the ones doing that, and we're emailing out to people that we're working with. But that's a great point that Schedulicity and MailChimp both have that that ability to get people can unsubscribe. That's important.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, we're looking out for our users. We have it in place for that specific reason, because we know Canada has tougher laws on marketing to folks through email.
Yeah. Yeah, which I love as an email recipient. Any other questions, you guys? I think I might try and unmute everyone at the same time so we can say a little, or do you guys have a little wrap up or anything else that you want to share about Schedulicity? Maybe things that are coming other than the calendar?
Ooh.
Well, I'm really excited because at the beginning of 2018, something that studio owners have talked to, and Shannon and I have talked about it, is marketing your business. And just the fact that you have all of these administrative things to do. And what we're going to implement is the ability for it to happen for you automatically. So like Hillary said, we have a mailing list that can send out, you can send out a special for people that haven't seen you in a while. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to allow you to have this premium add-on that we just send it out automatically. So if people haven't come to your studio in 6 months, we just send them a message that you create that says, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Please come back in. I'd love to see you again. You can give them a discount if you want to. Automatic thank yous that say, thank you for coming to this workshop, or I really enjoyed this private session. Let me know if you have any questions. Automatic birthday messages. So it's sent out at the beginning of the month if you do those sorts of specials. And then just reminders for people to book. Oh, well, you already had a consultation call with me. Now it's time for you to book that next one. And so it's kind of set and forget because you have other things to do. And so it's really valuing the time that you put in, and it's taking some of that administrative work away. So I'm really excited about that.
That sounds like an early Christmas present.
I know.
For us too. I think we're all excited.
Definitely.
I'm like, tell me more.
Tell me more. Well, and then like I already mentioned, we're having those other class enhancement features, with waitlist and guest booking. I think a lot of studios have asked for that. Specifically, if I want to go to a yoga class with Matt, then I can go through and I can say, hey, I want to register for both of us, which is really nice, especially for, even for me, right. I guess I should say. So maybe it's really just for me.
Sweet.
No. So yeah, and then we love talking to studio owners. If you have ideas, send them our way. I love to talk to studio owners to dive into the details of, what would make your life easier and how can this benefit not only your business but other studio owners. So it's really exciting. That's the first half of the year.
Cool.
Yes.
And more to come after.
Yes, more to come.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you guys. Thank you to the Rockstars and thank you to everyone else for showing up. I think I'm going to unmute everyone so we can all say a little hello. Everyone's there now, unmuted. So
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
all
Thanks,
right.
everyone. A lot of great information exchanged. I'm really excited now to dig in a little more. And I really love that piece about the comparison of MailChimp. I think I'm really going to dive in now with Schedulicity because I like how you're able to target one or two clients. That question about the MailChimp and the their mailing lists, I made the mistake of creating some different mailing lists thinking I could target, people. And what you can't do on MailChimp is you can't send, at least I haven't figured it out, you can't send the same newsletter to two mail groups at the same time, right? You have to, what I do is I replicate it or copy it and then send it to that second mail group I have. So the Schedulicity one sounds like it's a lot more seamless. It may not have all the bells and whistles, I don't know, but that's okay too. So this is exciting. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Anyone else? You guys are all unmuted if you'd like to say a little hello or if you have another question.
I just want to say thanks so much. Like I really am excited and inspired by this. So
Okay,
yeah.
yay.
Thanks, Esther, because Esther makes us all dance up here. We're all dancing.
Sounds like fun.
It is.
Laura's saying, looking forward to the coming features. You guys are great. You can tell you guys get along as you're passionate about your work. It's very true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, I love it. We have different noises. Okay, you guys. I might take a little screenshot here if you can turn your video on. I'm going to see if I can do it. If you want to be in the photo. Yeah, I'm just going to take a screenshot. So say hi.
Hi.
Hey. All right, you guys. Thank you, Schedulicity Rockstars.
Thank
Thank
you. This was lovely.
So fun.
I know. We'll have to do it again.
Okay, done.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, you guys.
You all
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thanks everybody. And thanks Shannon for organizing. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.